ill or otherwise disabled relief and emotional well-being for their time of service in Dallas County. And whereas leave time, at least until January, which may provide service to families restricted from service by the current Social Security Act provisions. The Nurse Association of Dallas contract with the Texas State Department of Public Welfare.
People?
The old county jail is a good jail. It's I think Sheriff Jones is right. Chester, the overpopulated condition of both the old county jail and the new county jail.
The shift in emphasis is due to the new water pollution law passed by Congress just before the session ended. It provides both stiffer penalties for water polluters and it puts the weight of the U.S. government behind enforcement. Two representatives from the Environmental Pollution Agency's legislative session are in Dallas to talk about the new law's provisions, as well as other laws that will affect the environment. They include the Marine Protection Act, which will govern ocean dumping, and the new Pesticide Control Act. Susan P. Walker, one of the EPA team in Dallas, says there are several points in the new law that will help clean up rivers like the Trinity. One is a section that will require cities to have secondary sewage treatment in the next few years. Another will require stricter pollution control efforts on the part of state agencies, with plans for enforcement being approved by the EPA administrator in Washington. The Environmental Pollution Agency hopes the new law, which they say meets with the approval of environmentalists, will go a long way toward cleaning up rivers, streams, and lakes in Texas, as well as the rest of the nation. Phil Reynolds, Channel 8 News, on the move.
Initiatives in the environmental area, and a number of areas speculate on what will be. There's nothing imminent, no. To be incorporated in the legislative program, it would be ready by the end of the year.
Passed, or is there?
Speaking of the water pollution control.
First of all, the limitations that are set out in the Act are going to be
Industrial discharges.
extremely precise, unlike those in the old Federal Water Pollution Control Act, which were...
The Marine Protection Research Act. Has there been a location picked yet for the...
I anticipate very much legislation. One of the complaints that we have heard from all of the people who are charged with enforcing the law is that everything now is getting bogged down in the courts. Everybody goes to the court.
We have, but we're short the judge.
Oh no, watch it.
I'm just trying to here so you can get one.
Prepared to be enforced to apply for old age.
Please, I would like to make a statement in behalf of my candidacy in this race. 145 votes separating this race. I think the law specifies.
Judge,
Determine whether the electorate of Dallas County will return him to a second term of providing safety and tranquility for all the citizens of Dallas County. In this instance, but also the continued program.
Community looked into it to find out if it is a misinterpretation or if it's true, and then do something about it if it's true.
As the major items of business for the legislature?
Certainly lowering our insurance rates in Texas for all Texans is will be a major item of concern. We're going to have to deal with the problem of financing of public education. Of course, that depends on the outcome of the Rodriguez case, which is now before the Supreme Court. We're going to have our hands full next session, but we're going to do a good job for the people of the state of Texas.
Well, I contributed to team pride. We all got together and said that it wasn't no sense in us going on the field and letting the man in front of us whoop us, and we just got together and really got after him.
Mm-hmm. Has the offensive line blocking improved?
Yes, in the last 3 games, they really began to come out, downfield blocking and, on line of scrimmage, getting off the ball, and then, too, the backsmen run and make cowboy. We seem to be able to get out there and block for each other and know where each other are most of the time, and lately we've come out on top.
Mm-hmm. Well, like in the first few games, you tried to gain yards mainly with your moves, and then the last 2, you've really just put muscle into it and gone head down up the middle. Has this helped?
Yes, it's helped a lot. I mean, that's the way I've always ran, with power, and all of a sudden, we began to lose, and the defense began to take its toll on us, I believe, and that kind of made me try to get around them instead of go over them.
Coach, you've won 2 in a row. What does it look like for homecoming?
Well, Steve, we're very optimistic about it. Of course, we're playing a very strong West Texas State team. They have come in with an improved season over what they had last year. They have a 4-4 presently when they were 2-9 last year. And just like us, they're trying to finish up the season strong and show a above percentage record, for the season. So I'm sure they'll be out to win the game just like we are. And of course, we feel we have a few things working in that we are playing at home and it is homecoming. That always helps.
This is the master test frame, or the test center. This equipment monitors and tests all of the relay equipment in the office. This is a trouble card, and by analyzing this card, our repairman can duplicate a troubled call and repair it, hopefully before the customer realizes he's ever encountered a trouble. Our folks are working in here. We're about 70% complete on this project right now. This particular group of wire goes over to our carrier equipment, but by these colors of wires, we're able to trace them throughout the office, and they are used in our testing of this apparatus. We have sufficient central office equipment in here to serve about 5,000 customers on the airport. During the process of designing this office, our engineers have visited all the major airports in the United States: Chicago, San Francisco, Tampa, Florida, where we have similar equipment serving the airport there. We've been working on this particular project since 1968.
This is a 1926 Foden steam truck of a kind used in England in the 1920s. It's a coal-fired locomotive type boiler, and we set out just 3 years ago to drive around the world, and we're 3/4 of the way doing that now.
There are a lot of questions about practicality here, it seems to me. First of all, I must ask, you've had a lot of exposure to this truck. Can you believe that this was actually used for a commercial vehicle?
It is kind of hard to believe, but I think people in the 1920s in England had different ideas of what was expected of a working man. I would certainly demand a fairly high salary to do this for a living.
Well, you are sort of doing it for a living or for an adventure. What prompted you to do this?
Principally boredom, I think. We were fed up with our somewhat mundane jobs in England, and we wanted to see a bit of the world, and this is a way in which we can justify taking 3 years off, because it's something of an education.
The question that I know everybody asks you, but I really have to know, is would you do it again?
I would do it again, provided I was doing it for myself as an amusement. If somebody asked me to do it as a job, I think I would outprice myself.
David's companion on the journey is Michael List Brain, a 27-year-old journalist from Kent, England. Mike's the coy type, prefers to let Trussell talk, but at heart, he's a regular sterling moss. She first fired up in 1926, a less hurried time. Return with us now to those thrilling days of yesteryear. A puff of smoke, a whistle of steam, a hearty hi-ho Britannia. Reticent Mike and his faithful fireman David Trussell ride again. Jerry Taff, Channel 8 News, reporting.
This is a story about chicken feed and pig feed and mule feed and horse feed and catfish feed and a whole bunch of other stuff. It's also a story about Kelly Horner, a former airline stewardess who's moved to Keller here in North Tarrant County to open up this thriving Triple H feed store. Kelly quit jet setting about 6 months ago so she could run, of all things, a feed store.
Kelly, why did you do it? Why did you leave a glamour job like a stewardess to come out here to Keller and operate a feed store?
Well, one of the reasons that glamour starts going out of any job after a while, I suppose, and although I enjoyed flying, I was ready to try something different. And what could be more different than bouncing from flying to the feed business, I guess. We've always had the normal, the dogs and the cats in the family, but I enjoy very much being around people who raise animals, and I like the horsey set. It's, people who are involved in that type of activity, I enjoy.
Kelly's partner, Sharon Halsworth, spends the week working over in Dallas, so Kelly tends the store during the week and does her best to build up the business. Now, you men may work from sun to sun, but Kelly seems to work round the clock, picking up feed sacks and making sure her customers are satisfied. Now, when a pretty girl is running the local feed store, you might wonder who lugs these 50 and 100-pound sacks out to the car, especially if it's a lady customer like this one. Well, you can see how it happens right for yourself. By the way, the Triple H is the only feed store in town, but Kelly says she tries not to act like it. What Kelly's after is satisfied customers, because the more customers she has means the bigger business she'll do. And that's not chicken feed. Arch Campbell, News 8 on the Move, Keller.
Well, we found that in both the feelings of many of our committee members, and we had a wide segment of leadership of the black community and of witnesses that came before us, that there is a growing number of people, a growing percentage of people in the minority communities that feel that law enforcement responds on one level to the white populace and on another to the minority.
Reference sexism in the schools, where is this found?
In curriculum, in counseling, in textbooks, as she told us. In every aspect. I mean, I think we've all been aware of this, that when we go into the school as a child, we're directed into certain channels, and we'd like to see some changes made.
Now that Amendment 4 passed this week, we're going to have a threefold effort in the House. First of all, we're going to adopt a new set of reform rules at the beginning of the session. Then we're going to give our attention to some reform statutes, some new laws. And then thirdly, the constitutional revision, which the voters have approved or set in motion. We'll follow through on that during the regular session.
in your reforming of the rules of the House, are you going to have an automatic calendar so that there will not be a possibility of putting pressure on a legislator by saying your bill will not come up if you don't go along?
That's right. I want to move to an automatic calendar. The reforms basically in the rules are designed to make the operation of the House more efficient, more democratic, and more open, where people of Texas will know what we're doing at all times.
I don't think they will, no. I would think that it would put them in a very strained or awkward position if
Well, they could just turn it back over to the
changed some from what I took into the original
the
session.
commission does not have
When you get conflicting testimony, how do you...
investigation.
Well, I don't think that they found that anyone has yet heard all the facts. What you have has been...
And I might say that Channel 13 tonight is having a TV show.
Activities. Besides 4 women, we have 7% of our national membership is a male.
They'll probably say, yes, you're right, because they don't have community support.
System. We have their complete support in this.
I think it's probably the most important part. Done.
How you doing? Oh, just a little bit of everything.
Are we in the movie?
Why not?
You got any coastal movies? Just want one, well.
Yes,
I want to make some bedding in there.
you do. I just happen to have some.
Just happen to have it.
Yes, as a matter of fact, I even have, if you're going to use it, well, you still couldn't move it. I've got one broken bell over there.
Hi,
How you doing?
fine.
Good.
Got my horsepower checkers ready?
You betcha.
I'm glad you're gonna be trying this. Get rid of that. Get rid of the headache.
And a happy horse you have. I need another hand.
It is. Or a truck.
Nice of you to bring it.
How about that? Good.
7 November, right? Yeah, this is a lot better because this thing was getting a little awkward to write on. We got you all the way up to $4.06.
How about that?